Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge. Today is day 46 and it is just the chance that we have moved from 5,000 to 6,000 a day to 4,000 to 5,000 a day. We will have to wait and see, so I think that's 2 days in a row, which I think is the first time ever according to worldometers. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to come onto the floor. Make sure you've got your mat ready. Check my website for health and safety advice and do subscribe if you want to get videos regularly. YouTube is your best place. And if you come into all fours, so a nice comfortable all fours position, you're going to take your elbows down and onto the floor, and you're going to start to arch up through the back of the body and release down. We're going to go back and forth a couple of times, so just easing up and back out and down. And one last time. Let the back lift up, head release down and lengthen out. And I'm just going to tuck my top in before I do the next bit, because I have the funny feeling it could go pear-shaped if I don't. So make sure you've got your mat, make sure your elbows are bare and the elbows are going to be making contact with your mat, and you're just going to lightly or loosely interlink your hands. It's very important that you have a little bit of awareness of your hands, so that all the time there's a gentleness in your hands. As soon as you, or if you lose that gentleness in your hands, it's a really great indication that you need to soften it off a little bit. So keep that nice soft contact in the hands. You're going to tuck your toes under at the back, and you're going to have your knees just a nice comfortable distance so you feel supported. And you're going to start to rock your shoulders back and forth. So what we're going to do shortly is we're going to come up into elbow dog pose, and we do that by pressing into the elbows to lift the hips up. But it's so important that you start by getting the feeling of a nice easy comfort in the back before we go any further. And as we come up, we want to have a good contact all the way down the forearm to the wrist. So that for this one, as your shoulders just past your elbows, so just at this sort of position rather than further back, this is when you want to press into your elbows to lift yourself up. So as the hips come back, press into the elbows, lift up with the hips, get a feeling of lightness into the feet. Say, I'm walking my feet in a little bit because I'm on a floor and it's a wee bit too slidey. And then you're going to sink your heels down, let your knees come down, and rest yourself onto your mat for a moment. Let the breath be easy in the back of the body, and then choosing whether you want to come up and do that again or whether you'd prefer to be resting down a little bit longer. If you're wanting to come back up, toes tuck under, elbows again slightly narrow, so that we've got really good support underneath the shoulders. Hips are going to slide back and forth. As the shoulders pass the elbows, so they just past the elbows coming back, press into the elbows, lift up with the hips, sink down with the heels, and we're just going to bend one knee and then the other. And we're going to do this a couple of times so you get a nice stretch out through one side of the body and then through the other side of the body. And remember, your head's not touching the floor at any time. And then you're going to come back to both feet even, so both legs lengthen. Getting that feeling of a little lift up through the tailbone and down through the elbows. And then let your knees come down to the floor and let your head rest down. As you rest your head down, allow your breathing to get more comfortable and easier. So just allow the breath to be settled and comfy. We're going to come up to a standing forward bend from here. So you're going to walk your hands back towards your heels. You're going to lift up with your hips. You're going to fold forwards and hang down so it feels just nice and soft. Elbows usually will be on your thighs so that you're well supported and your back's easy. And then bend through your knees. Start to press into the feet. Lift up with the body, lift up with the hands. All the way up and overhead as you take a nice breath in. And then let your hands come down to settle. From here we're going to come to a standing pose, so you're just going to make sure that you've got something that you can take a hand onto that's going to be your support. So you're just going to imagine I'm going to use my little bit of window here. So you're going to take your hand onto the support so it's nice and settled. You're going to pick up your opposite legs and you're going to fold your leg in towards you. You're going to imagine that your knee is going down towards the floor. So it's really important. It might be that your foot stays at this angle. You could have a belt round your foot. You could have your foot further away if it feels better. But it's very important that from the front, you're thinking about the knee not coming out like this, but staying pointing down towards the floor. And then the movement is the knee coming back the ways. From here, you're going to let your hand float up. Shoulder relaxes down. And then letting your hand come down and your leg come down. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So hand settles onto the support. Other leg is going to float up. Thinking of the knee staying close towards the other one from the front. And then slightly drawing back to get that sense of space through the front of the thigh as the knee extends back. Letting your free hand float up and overhead if it's comfortable for you. And then letting your hand come down, letting your foot come down. We're going to do the same pose where we have the option of coming further into it. So if you felt that was enough challenge, then stay with your hand here and stay this close so that you've got that real steady support. And if you feel like you like more space to move and you like a little bit more of a challenge, move further away from the wall, but not so that when you come forward you could still find it if you needed to. So you're going to let one leg come up again. So again, either taking hold of a bit of a trouser leg or ankle as the knee folds down. Free hand is going to come up and overhead. And you're going to keep your foot close in towards your hip as you angle your shoulders forwards just to see where your body would like to come to. And you're going to breathe. And then you're going to lift up with your hand, extend all the way up and overhead. Come back to both feet standing. And then we're going to come to the opposite side. Other leg lifts up. Hand floats up. Knee points gently down towards the floor. You're going to lift yourself up and forwards, staying nice and steady through the supporting foot. So you're just angling your shoulders forwards. Oh, it's always good to have a wobble. So angling yourself forwards, get that feeling of a little bit of a lengthening out. And then lift up through your hand, bring yourself all the way back up to comfortable standing and both feet settled. We're going to come down to the floor now. So if you want to bring yourself to sitting, and if you want to bring yourself to sitting so that you have got a little bit of space in front of you, let's just start with the legs lengthening out in front. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take one leg and you're going to fold it underneath the other. And it might be that it folds under just like this, so you've got a little bit of a cross-legged thing. Might be that it folds further, a little bit so the foot's out here. Might be the foot comes back towards you. Just as always, no stretching around the entire knee area, no sense of stretch here at all. It should be in the hip, in the thigh, and potentially in both hips and both thighs, depending on the balance for you. But we're not looking for a stretch into the kind of bony joints. We're looking for a stretch into the big juicy muscles. Now this top leg is either going to stay there, or it can come a little bit across, or it can come a little bit further across, or it can come a lot across. It just depends on how your body is happy. And also you might find that sitting on a block is just a much better place for you because it gives you that little feeling of lift. From here, one hand's going to settle onto your knee. You're going to expand out and into the open space. Come back to the centre and to the opposite side. Nice and smooth, easy breathing, and back to the centre. So what we're going to do now is we're going to swap over legs. So you're going to take your legs out in front, and then opposite leg is going to go under. And it might be that this side is different. We're usually asymmetrical, and that's okay. So work with your asymmetry and be kind to your body. So maybe for me it's going to come in here, but it can be somewhere different for you. Top leg is going to slide over to where it wants to be, and hips are both settled evenly onto the floor. So it should be a nice steady down feeling through the hips. One hand's going on to come onto your knee. You're going to come round and into the open space as the spine gently lifts and lengthens. Bring yourself back to the centre and to the opposite side. Same thing, lift and lengthen into the open space. And then bring yourself back into the centre. And you're going to let both legs come out in front. And you're just going to choose how you'd like to sit, so however is going to be comfortable for you. And we're just going to do a little bit of belly breathing while we're here. So you're going to take your hands low onto your tummy, and you're going to feel that as you breathe in, that the breath spreads and widens into your tummy. And as you breathe out, that it just softens back a little. So allow your breathing to be as fast or as slow as it needs to be, and look for just that smoothness of breath. Just nice, easy breathing. And then let yourself just rest down. So my wee challenge for you today, is to find a YouTube song and to lip sync to it. It's a joy, isn't it? It's an absolute joy. It's just like being a teenager all over again, pretending you're in your bedroom holding your toothbrush, hairbrush, whatever, I don't care. I can think of other things, but we're not going there. And that you're just having a really good lip sync with that. Good sing along. And I hope you're all doing okay. We've had, in our family, it's extended family, but we've had first sad death due to COVID. Wife. Husband is going to get a bowel cancer op. Wife goes in for an emergency bowel cancer op, same op, but emergency one. She contracts COVID, she dies. He can't visit her because he would get COVID, and he's got to have the same operation, so he's got to be as healthy as possible. It's just like, how much suffering can one family go through? So I know there's a lot of suffering out there, and I'm really sorry if you are also in that space. But I wish you well, whatever's going on. Thank you. And I forgot my quote. You need a quote. You don't want to end on that story, do you? You need a quote. Dear, dear. Let's see what Buddha has to say about it. Every morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Every day we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Thank you.